I got a hot crinkly mic from somebody. Well, the mic's not crinkly, but something's crinkly.
Yeah, that was me. Didn't realize I had unmuted.
We gotta keep each other honest, you know. So, all right. There's the link today, and joining us in a little less than a half an hour is going to be Dr. Seth Nielson, who is my friend and is like the awesomeness security guy of the ages. And so he's going to join us. I am dropping the link into the syllabus right now, which I do. Oh, and I'm on set again tomorrow, everybody. So that's kind of cool. I'm excited about that. Although I got a 6:30 call time, so that feels kind of like more like real. I don't know what that feels like. Feels like somehow like real time. Like real actors have to like get up early or something. Last time it was a little later for me, but I'm jacked about it anyway. Okay, link is now in the fall schedule. There's no, there's some readings and stuff. I'm coming up with stuff still. I'm still behind the curve here. We're getting it done slowly. Oh, and one other thing. Let me see. Quick bit of housekeeping. Let me throw this up on the big screen for everybody. And just to kind of point you at what we're going to be doing, make that a little bigger. So today's the 20th, right? We're doing cybersecurity, etc. Part deux, and we've got, like I said, I got my friend, colleague, Seth Nielson, going to join us at 6 o'clock, and we're going to try. I'm still working on how to do this guest speaker thing with the technology, to get the technology working from all sides. So what I've got is Seth's going to join us on the Discord channel. And then I've got a Zoom call set up so he can join the Zoom call. That'll give us video. Zoom call goes on the big screen and with Seth's face. And he'll be on the Discord channel on the chat. So he'll be on the voice chat with us. And then we got voice through Discord and video through Zoom. I think that should work. I don't know. I hope. So number one, that's going to be today. Women in Computing is going to push to November, but I'm nailing down a date with that. I've got my friend and colleague and former professor Margaret Burnett from Oregon State, and she has a couple of researchers in her group that are going to actually be the ones talking to us. So I don't know exactly what, I kind of know Margaret's speeches on the subject. I don't know what they're going to say. Well, we're going to find out, and I'm excited for it. But it's going to be pushed back. And so what I think we'll probably do is push the open source discussion up to Thursday. Okay? And I'll figure out if there's some reading that we need to do. Probably. I may go old classics in the open source space. A little Eric Raymond, a little Linus Torvalds, a little Richard Stallman, and maybe throw a couple of the classic readings at you for that one. And as for this one, I'll backfill it. And, the way we're doing this is still pretty fast and loose. As long as you can kind of just get to it, mark it. I don't even think we got the homework set up completely yet. Hopefully it's working. Hopefully, if you're suffering like deep frustration, please holler at me, okay? And I'll try to console you. I don't know how much is going to change. Still trying to just kind of fake it till we make it here. But anyway, hopefully it's still coming together and this is still being a decent experience for you. I hope. All right, and then we got a bunch of other stuff coming up. Then what we'll do is open source. We got writing workshops coming up, and the writing workshops, that's one where I'm going to randomly assign you into groups, and I'll explain before then. I mean, really, it's going to be a lot more flexible than it would be in a live setting, because basically we're going to get in a group, you're going to swap URLs to your blog, you're going to pull the blog stuff, and then you're going to, I'm going to explain and kind of teach you how to workshop your writing, is what that's going to be. So believe it or not, because I know you're kind of like, oh, somebody shoot me now. It's typically a really good experience even for CS students who aren't typically super jacked about writing. Some of you are. Okay. All right, so that's probably where we're going to go. Open source will move up to Thursday. I don't know about what's going to happen here, but I'll get my act together and figure that out. Okay? Very soon. All right, everybody cool with that? And then the other thing we're continuing to do while we get the other stuff figured out, we're catching up on grading. Let me see, are Devin or Tim on here right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Tim. Hey, Devin, whatever your name is. We're catching up on the grading slowly, but I think we are catching up.
Yeah, it takes a significant amount of time per assignment, and each smallish post takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours each.
Like to do, not per person.
No,
across the
for
class.
for the 60 to 61 students, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And anyway.
Me and Tim are tag teaming it. We were just actually talking about that again today.
Yeah. Anyway, appreciate your patience on that. We're really trying to do it in a way that gives you real feedback. And of course, we started a little late, trying to get the thing organized. And it's one of those things too. There's an old adage that no battle plan survives, first contact with the enemy, right? In other words, it's like you can have all this, or no business plan defines exactly what the company's going to really do when you start. So you're kind of like you figure it out in real time when you really start to do it, and then everything, and you realize what works and doesn't work. And this is my first time doing that here, so yeah, we're going to definitely go random hundreds, you goofballs. And Jacob, you're welcome. Yeah, that's kind of the goal, is to try to give good feedback to help you, Devin, we didn't execute the hot, medium, mild, did we?
Sorry, what was that?
Did we? I don't think we executed on the hot, medium, mild idea.
Remind me what that is again?
Yeah, there you go. So
I'm sure that's the, we didn't execute on it.
I'm sure we talked about it, and then we didn't do it. Here's the idea.
The feedback.
Yeah, let me throw this out. What I'm going to do, and I think we need to do this because it's the only way to get this thing sped up. But what I'm going to do is I'll send out an announcement, okay? And what I'm going to ask you to do is to message on Discord either one of the TAs or me, TAs. Let's go TAs. I may become a bottleneck, but you message either Devin or Tim. Or is there like an admin thing you can just like shoot to the admins of this
I think it would be
server?
I think it would be almost better. You could, when you submit your assignment, just put what type of feedback you want.
Well, yeah, the only problem
because then we can.
Yeah, so here's the idea, everybody. Let me explain what hot, medium, and mild means. Basically, you tell the TA what you want in terms of feedback. If you say hot, it means essentially I really want to get better. I really want to understand. Please pour through and give me everything you got, right? Medium is kind of like, it's okay if you're like, yeah, you're kind of weak in this area. Try to tighten up this. You're giving some stuff. And mild is basically just a score, with like a score with no feedback. And the idea here is a lot of times when you're grading homework and you're pouring a lot of heart and soul into, trying to give a ton of feedback and burning a lot of time, then, sorry, I got distracted by, I can't remember, what's your name, Mr. Chapter. I want to address that. But you pour all this energy into it as a grader, and then, let's just say that half the students like literally never even go look. It's like, well, that's a lot of time spent, for no real value, you know what I mean, on the part of the TAs or me. And so mild just says, I just, basically no feedback or something very, very, very slim. And then in terms of, again, I should remember your name. I apologize, Mr. Seeds. But why didn't I get 100%? Yeah, that's either hot or medium. You understand that there's like two different, broadly speaking, there's two different ways of responding. How did I miss it? Well, let me tell you all the things that you could have done better, all the problems, or I can just say, in the case of medium, grammar problems, punctuation problems, too long. Minus, and then there you go, 3 out of 5 or whatever. Okay. So, and that's what medium means. And mild is nothing. And hot says kind of really, I think what they've been doing is hot for everybody, but we're just not catching up fast enough. And I think there's probably a good cross section, like Mr. Seeds, who his only incentive is just the score. Not to be a better writer. Come on, Seeds. Come on, Seeds. You can do better than this. Yeah, man. Okay. I'm just saying, it depends. Yeah. Okay. The score means you're a good writer. Yeah, ish. But put it this way: Tim and Devin and I are willing to go overtime mode to help you really be a better writer. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can get a 5, and you're not maxing out as good as you can be, because it's just so much subjectivity to all that. Anyway. All right, let's talk about, so I'm going to send out the announcement. And here's the thing, Devin, you mentioned, one approach is on every assignment you could say, that's actually not okay, quick improv poll.
You can just put it in the comments when you submit, because then I can see on each one individually when we go through it and the speed grader it. It shows it really easily.
And the idea is the way we do this is if you don't say, then it's mild. If you fail to just respond to that, it's mild. You got to ask for hot or medium.
I like it.
Thought you might. Okay, but here is the question. One approach is everybody signs up like I'm in the hot category, and then you have this, you and Tim and I have this list, So yeah, Erica says, oh, right. Yep. If you put it on every assignment, there's some you care more about than others. That's the big advantage, right? You're evolving and you're like, I know I'm not even going to have time. Look, I'm not going to worry about this one. And then this one I really want to know. And that's true. It does add extra overhead when you have to do with that. You have to do that on every assignment. That's the struggle. But I think we're getting some thumbs up on Erica. So, yeah. Okay. So I think every assignment. Okay. Now the question is, do we put it in the body of the submission, or in the comment, as Devin, whatever that guy's name is, as Devin suggested? If we put it in the comment, you'll know like right where to look for it. Right.
So if it's in the comment, I'm just going to say it's easier just because when you submit depending on, because whoever's submitting, some people when they submit their link, it pulls up the whole web page, and it would be kind of difficult to find
Oh, that's true.
where.
That's true.
So just in the comment is just way easier to see right away.
That's right. It'll sometimes do like a cache of the page and just show that to you, and then you're like, am I up here? Am I down there? Okay, in the comments. Oh, and so Delia asked, can we let them know we want more feedback if we get a low score? Yeah. And the way that I would do that one, though,
message us directly.
that's
okay
DM.
too.
Okay, that's DM. Oh, you're saying if score less than 5, hot, else medium. That can work, like a conditional. And the other one you can do is just keep it, if you want to keep it mild, and then you're just like, I don't know what happened there, and then you DM and then you touch base. I think it's great. In fact, I think the time will cut dramatically, and then we'll be able to catch up. And again, it's part of the learning of how we do this thing. Okay. All right. So we have a recommendation from Delia that, if score less than 5, hot, else medium. So if it is a 5, tell me kind of like some things I can still be looking at, right? But if it's less than a 5, if it's less than a 5, then I want to, you can go hot on that. Okay, let's do something like that. We'll build that in. Actually, you don't have to. This is another really good question. Do we go back and it would be really, really helpful if we could retroactively do this thing, like starting right away.
You don't have to resubmit. You can just go to whatever hasn't been graded yet and add a comment.
Yeah.
Right. It won't affect anything. It'll be okay.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to resubmit or anything.
Right, Michael? There's no resubmission. You just go and drop, just add a comment to your submission. Okay. All right. I like this a lot, right? I mean, I just really appreciate what if you want to regrade,
whoever graded yours. So me and Tim talked
one.
about. So you can usually see, since we submit comments on all of them, you can see who graded it and contact whoever that was. But me and Tim, at least for the smallish posts, we've decided to keep with what we're doing right now. I'm doing the odd numbers, and he's doing the even numbers. So if it's like 1, 3, 5 smallish posts, then it's me. Otherwise, it'll be him.
Yep. And then I'm pinch hitting and reference point for Tim and Devin at all times. If they have a question or there's something, we get together and get our heads together. All right. Okay. So here's the deal. Are we good then? So we'll get that announcement out, and then what I think we're going to do is, I think we need to go retro comments back. But I'll send that announcement out again and let you know kind of, what the grading is up to. So like for grading beyond this, you'll have to, go back and just drop a quick comment. And yeah, you can in fact go over Devin or Tim's head and talk straight to me if you don't trust the feedback, or you just want to just get it straight from me or sanity check or whatever. It's totally fine. We don't have a lot of ego wrapped up in this thing. We just want to help you, and we want to have it be right. Yeah. We just want to get it right. We don't care about the rest of that. Okay. Let me get rid of that. All right, are we ready? Let's talk a little bit more about security stuff. We got 10 minutes before Seth joins us. I just want to. You're welcome, Mr. Seeds. One other thing, just a reminder. We're done with Cliffy. As far as the book is, reading that book. So it's time to get me. I'm gonna create an assignment in which you tell me the name of your book. Okay. It'll just be connected to the. It'll be connected to the assignment for the second book, right? Your choice. And by the way, literally every single book option that you guys have like pinged me, you know, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? They're all just amazing. They're just really fantastic. And I've actually tried, I think so far, to the extent I've had time, I've bought every one just to put in my library, try to read. And, you know, again, just for my own literacy. Let's see. And yeah, so no, we're kind of right now. So Eric, we're kind of on really anything. We're current, modern. We're more modern. And what I've got coming up here in less than 10 minutes is Seth Nielson, who is Seth is a PhD in computer science and security. Shoot, man. Let me see. Wow. That staggered for a second, right? Did that screen stagger for you or only for me? I got some hardware problems. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so we got Seth Nielson. Seth is a security guy. He graduated. He did his PhD. Wait, are we struggling? Crap. How's the audio right now? Struggling? We're not. Am I still Mr. Roboto? Crap. Okay. Recommendations. I'm going to take Discord down and I'll rejoin. Okay, hold tight. Okay, how's voice right now? Better? Say better.
It's good. Yeah.
All right, we're back. Crap, man. It's like literally I got a cable and you bump the cable and then the external monitor like turns off and then it like does a little thing. Then my main laptop like ba-da-ba-da. It makes that sound. It goes ba-da-ba-da. It's horrible. Okay, let me get that window up here for you guys. Man, technology. Okay. So I'm just going to do kind of a quick intro right now. And there are a couple of things I just wanted to say about Cliff and the Cuckoo's Egg. But what I want to say about Seth is, so he is PhD from Rice University, or the University of Rice. It's a starch-based institution of higher education. I don't know quite how that works. He was a transfer student from Potato University. Anyway, no, seriously, Rice. I just think it's one of those universities with a crazy dumb name. The only thing that's worse is don't you dare bring that colonel. I'm the colonel. It's the only university name worse than Tufts. No, Tufts is the worst. It's a school named after bad hair. I don't understand that, what the ethic is there. But anyway, so Seth, he is the founder, principal at Crimson Vista. It's a consulting firm. Seth, like me, does testifying expert stuff in litigation and a lot of security stuff, security audits. We do a lot of similar kinds of stuff. And he was formerly an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. And for reasons unclear, he moved recently to Austin last summer, Austin, Texas. And he is now an adjunct professor at UT Austin. So, Mr. Sketches, is the audio back? Is the audio back? Okay, Taylor. Okay, Yeah, no, Tufts is actually a really good school. I don't mean Boston, whatever. I get it. It's a good school. I just said it's a bad name. It's a name. It's named after bad hair, and I just don't think that's a generally good idea. That's all. I wanted to just say a couple of quick things. So Seth is just awesome. He's awesome, and he's a really good teacher, and a really good expert and a good security guy. He has there's a certification. I'm going to type it here. It's called CISSP, which is a certified information systems security professional. It's a big certification. It's a big cert, and he's a big cheese anyway, and a really, really good friend and a crazy smart guy. And I wanted to say all those things before I get him live. You know what I mean? So whatever, I don't have to talk about him in front of his face or in front of his back, as the case may be. So I'm just gonna I'm kind of just waiting for him to ping me when he's ready to rock and roll and jump to Zoom. I know he had a meeting, that started about an hour ago, so he was going to jump on when he was off that. Here's a couple of things I wanted to hit, and some of this might be a little overlap, and this might go super short, depending upon when Seth actually jumps on board with us. But here's a couple. I just want to give a couple more Cliff quotes. There was a couple of things that I wanted to hit before we were done. One kind of theme. Okay, hang on. Seth said he's joining the chat, so he should show up, and we can revisit these later. We got all kinds of time. All right. Admitting Seth to the audio. All right. Let me see. Hey, Seth, we're going to go. Can you join Discord for audio, Seth? All right, yeah. This is an experiment. This is a live experiment, Seth. We're we don't know how this is going to go. Okay. And for all the Discord buddies, just as an FYI, you cannot hear Seth, right? Correct. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Discord for Mac. Without whom none of this would have been necessary. So Seth, do you have a elite hacker name there we go. A 2-bit gamer, that's fantastic. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and you only have to join just the audio, because we'll give the picture with. Okay. All right,
Let me
and then
my audio on Zoom. Hold on.
And then just mute the Zoom. There we go.
Yep, muted the Zoom.
All right, and all right, that ought to give us Seth on the big screen.
I apologize for the bad lighting. I'm in a hotel room.
I thought you were just going for that backlit hacker look. So can everybody hear Seth okay? I'm hearing him fine. All right, we're sounding good. All right. Oh, wait, hang on.
Now I've got the hacker look.
Okay, go. It's all yours, Seth. I already introduced you and said amazing things. Actually, I'm using a VPN right now.
Okay.
So hang on a second. That's what I was really going for. There we go. No, man, it's all you, Seth. I did the intro already to save a little time. I bragged you up a little bit, and told them, that you were at Austin and doing the UT adjunct thing. And so, yeah, man, it's all you.
Yeah, well, I could introduce myself a little more, but I actually want to start with this video clip, which I think everybody will enjoy. So, Chuck, I think you said that you'd have it set up for me.
Yeah,
Could you
Devin's
run
got
it
that.
now?
What's that? Yeah. Or actually, yeah, that works actually. Or the other thing you can do, Seth. No. The audio's not going to come through. Devin, you got that video? So I don't know if you know this, Seth, but on
I've got
Discord
it.
for Mac, the sound of your own internals can't pipe out to Discord.
Oh,
But Windows,
Sorry.
yes. Score one for Windows. So yeah, so what we're doing here, if everyone can let me see. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm now going to go. I'm going to layer this thing. Wait, hang on a second. Just a second. How do we do this?
can you play it from your from? I guess you're not doing any of your audio through Zoom, so
No, that's the problem. But Devin's going to have it, and what I'm trying to do is just here it is just blow that up to full screeno. Oh, here it is. Okay. Actually, what I'm trying to do is no, I'm just trying to turn. Okay, I'm just trying to turn off the part where I've got the window that shows all the users. Just because since we're broadcasting,
sure.
any Mac Discord folks, or maybe it's already. I'm just looking for just a setting where I don't see everybody on the left. So what I want to do is slide it over and then go full screen without showing everybody's names in the chat on YouTube. So like I can full screen it, but then it's like full screen on my screen. And the problem is once I blow it up, wait, hang on. Maybe? Come on, baby. It was so close to brilliant. The problem is once I blow it up so I can't see everybody's names, then I can't slide it over to the other monitor.
I was just trying to think if there was a easier way that I could share the video without. What if I do this? What if I share the video over the screen here for Zoom?
Oh, and pipe your audio through Discord.
Yeah, I think it'll.
Let's do that. Let's try that. Let's try it. And if
Want
it's
me
not
to try it?
Yeah, and if it's just a little staggered, it's gonna still be okay.
All right, so for you students, have any of you discovered the joy that is Door Monster? Door Monster. Oh, see, somebody's heard of Door Monster. That's great. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share this Door Monster video here. Give me just a second to share it over Zoom. So the video is going to come over Zoom. Oh, Chuck, you have to make me a co-host. If you click on
the
three
Zoom
dots, I think.
Yeah, hang tight. Where's my meeting? Okay, let's see. Right here, perhaps? Nope. Making you make host.
Or co-host, either one.
Hey, there's no co-host option. I'm
Oh,
making
really?
you. I'm making you the host.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, you
Okay,
have
now let's see what.
many
Okay,
much
here we
power.
go. Okay, I should be sharing the screen now. Except it looks like it froze on me.
Yeah, we could all. Yeah, they could all go watch. It's true that, yes, as Mr. Seeds points out, we could all go watch it ourselves. But
Okay.
Here we go.
Everybody seeing the video I'm sharing? We're good? Chuck, you can
Yeah.
see it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to put on subtitles so that if the sound doesn't come through, you can still enjoy it. So this is called Hacker Fight by the comedy group Door Monster. Here we go.
I got no audio, Seth. Hey, Seth, Can you throw some audio?
Hey, if you can't, Chuck, if you can't hear the audio, then let's just go with the subtitles.
Okay, all right. In which case, I could have just done it.
All right. So
Way better with the sound. We're way better with the audio.
yeah, but I'll tell you what was really great about the subtitles is that with the subtitles, you got to see things like intense hacking to go along with the sounds, and hacking intensifies as you hear typing going on. Yeah, Door Monster is my spirit animal. So for those of you, I love the comments coming in. Keep them coming. Yeah, so obviously I don't know your real name, so you get called by your names here. Is that how hacking is? So what do you think? What do we learn from movies about hacking? What's the secret to being a great hacker? Yes, exactly. You've got to have a leather trench coat. You've got to type angry. 2 people on the keyboard is faster than 1. More accessories. Absolutely. Somehow, yes, random keys on a keyboard, hitting enter hard. I love all of this. I mean, this makes movies so much fun. Because if a movie followed what hacking really looked like, what would it look like? What would hacking really look like? Yes, really, really, really boring. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think hacking is actually really interesting and exciting, but to a typical audience, they're probably not going to see very much. Yes. Okay, you guys are the best with these gifs and memes here. This is great. Okay, so let's talk for just a minute. We are the memes. Great. So let's talk for just a little bit. Let's talk about what computer security is and what computer security isn't. I think we've kind of hit pretty good on what it isn't. So, cook hot pockets. What are some things we want to do in computer security for real? Like if you wanted to have security, and I'm putting it in quotes, if you can't see me do air quotes, what sort of things do we really want for security? Oh, NCIS is the worst. They're terrible. Okay, Delia says good passwords. Aware users. That's a good one. A couple more people are throwing in their brilliance here. Two-step authentication. Systems that keep data encrypted. Salt and hashed passwords. Okay, least privilege. That's a good one. We've got Ereka with a principal, and Trevor chimed in with the same thing. Okay, let me ask you this though. I said the word security, and some of you jumped in with two-step auth. I saw that one get a lot of thumbs up. Why did two-step auth get a lot of thumbs up? Why did you guys throw that out? Why is that security? Okay,
and reminder that you guys can jump in on audio as well, just as a reminder.
What's that?
Just a reminder that they can jump in on audio as well. Everybody's on the same audio channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if people could talk up.
Yeah.
He normally
Okay.
doesn't let us speak.
Oh, you see how they turn on me? See how fast they turn on me?
Nice. Okay, Josh Cooley here says that two-factor auth helps you verify you are who you say you are. Let's stop there for just a minute. Josh has hit on what actually needs to kind of be a starting point, thanks, Ereka, with authentication and authorization. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the...
Yeah, just first names or make something up, yeah.
I gotcha. So, we have this concept here of a property, a security property that we want to have. There are a couple of properties that are considered very classic. Have any of you heard of the CIA triad? And it is not the Central Intelligence Agency combined with Asian mafia. No, CIA triad. It's used in both security and in cryptography for almost the same things, but sometimes slightly different. We're seeing how fast you guys are actually searching Google. Well, I'll just jump ahead so that I can save all of you who are Googling it right now. Yes, thank you, Ereka. It is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, those are the security properties. Sometimes when you see properties like this in cryptography, it's confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. But confidentiality, integrity, and availability are the ones we usually talk about first. These are security properties that we almost always want to have in some form or another, depending on our application. Confidentiality is that data remains private to the parties who are authorized. Integrity, in the broad security sense, incorporates this concept of authentication, which is, do we know who we're talking to? Because if we didn't, then the communications wouldn't have integrity. But it also means that it can't be undetectably changed. And then availability is the idea that you keep the services available for authorized parties. Like this is, preventing a denial of service attack. Did I hear somebody jump on audio? Just didn't want to talk over someone. So the reason why things like this is an important concept is sometimes when you go to work for a company, the thing that they will do is they will hear about some neat product or some neat concept, even like two-factor authentication, and they'll say, you know what we need? We need security. Therefore, we need two-factor authentication. Well, that may have nothing to do with it. That may not be the problem. That may not even be what's trying to be solved. So one of the security pros that I'm really a big fan of is a man by the name of Ross Anderson. And if you Google, he has a really great book called Security Engineering. It's freely available on his website for the first edition and the second edition. The third edition is under development and is currently available. Once it gets published, it won't be available for a couple of years, and then he gets permission to post it online again. But the concepts that are in it are so timeless. Even the first edition is pretty good. But Ross Anderson has this concept that when you're going to do security engineering, your starting point is what he calls a policy. No, not like a policy you will see anywhere else in the business or government or anywhere else kind of world. Most people think policy, they think 200-page document. An Anderson policy is one sentence. Only an authorized party can access the information. It's a one-sentence thing stating the security that you need to have for some application. And you might have more than one, right? As many policies as makes sense for a given environment. But he says that you don't start with the mechanism first. You start with the policy, and then the mechanism is how it is enforced. So let me ask you all a question here about security, and we're going to jump out of computer security for a minute. How many of you lock your doors for your physical place where you live? When I'm sleeping. Locks on its own? I assume most of you do. Let me ask the reverse, because that's probably better. Anybody here not lock their doors? Maybe I shouldn't ask that on YouTube. Never mind. We're gonna bypass that question. But most of you probably lock your doors. Is that really the only security you're relying on, even the lock itself? Like, let me try and clarify what I mean. Do you agree that if somebody really wants to get into your house, the lock can be bypassed, broken open, picked, whatever? Does anybody think they have a lock? If I got robbed, I'd get up and look for money with the robber. That's awesome. So if you have a lock on your door and everybody knows that it can be bypassed with relatively little effort, why do we have locks on our doors? Are there any other elements that are involved with a lock other than just keeping somebody out? No, not keeping you in. Time to bypass the lock is okay. But there's an
Sort
even
of like
better
the
one we want to drive
sheep.
at here.
The sheep that runs the fastest doesn't get eaten by the wolf. So like you're not the easy
That's
target.
not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. Oh, Michael H says you would usually have to make some noise to break the lock. That's getting better. That's getting closer to what I'm driving at. Let me ask you this question. Okay, the shark state. People can accidentally walk into your house, or Dread Penguin X both said the same thing. What is it? Let's look at these two comments here. The shark state and Dread Penguin X. They're mentioning the idea of accidentally people coming in. Are there any specific protections you can think of that are tied to locking your door that have nothing to do with whether or not somebody can actually break it open? How about this? How about legal protections? What changes when you have a locked door and somebody comes through it? Yes, thank you. Breaking and entering. So the thing is, if you go into somebody's house and the door's not locked, that's still a crime, right? It's still trespassing. Just because somebody locked the door, if you don't have permission to be there, you don't have permission to be there. But the law recognizes, yes, I see a couple of these comments coming in. The law recognizes that it is easier to recognize the level of threat when there was a lock that had to be bypassed. It's harder to argue that you accidentally walked in. It's harder to argue that you mistook your house for somebody else's. It's harder to argue all of these things. And so we actually have legal protections that come into place once you lock a door. And part of the reason I'm mentioning this is I want you to think about the fact that we have a policy. Only authorized people can come into a place. But we have multiple mechanisms for enforcing. Locking the door provides one mechanism of enforcement. There is another mechanism of enforcement that accompanies it that is a legal protection. So, there are different ways to enforce a policy. That's one reason why it is so important that you start with the policy. You start with what it is that you want to achieve, and then you figure out what's the best way to enforce it. So I like to use this as an example of where computer security is a little bit difficult, a little bit nuanced, and a little bit challenging. Let me ask you this question. Anybody here ever heard of the concept of an advanced persistent threat, or APT? Anybody heard of an APT, advanced persistent threat? Okay, not Wyatt. Why don't you go ahead and give a guess? I'm kind of curious to hear what your guesses are. Or Eric, go ahead if you have a guess. Shark circling, waiting for a security flaw. Goes along with your username. That's great, that's great. What's an advanced persistent threat? What's your guess? Okay, Not Wyatt says something that keeps knocking until it gets in. That's pretty good. Some threats are always trying to find vulnerabilities. Okay, foreign agencies come to mind. Okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty good.
If I could chime in, I'd say Not someone that's checking every doorknob down a hallway, but someone that's specifically trying to get into your house for specific reasons.
Okay, that's actually usually what an APT is trying to do. Yep. So a DDoS attack is not typically considered an advanced persistent threat, but an advanced persistent threat might use a DDoS attack. Let me kind of jump ahead here. An advanced persistent threat is a threat that is typically associated with, usually, yes, Mason, APTs have deep knowledge of their target, although sometimes it's gained. Out of curiosity, anybody here serve in the military? No, currently in National Guard or I play Call of Duty. Okay, all right. Let's go with Call of Duty for a minute then. I'll take this. I'm going to take this up. All right, Call of Duty player. If you're going to go attack a given area, you're going to go, you've got a target, there's something you need to acquire. What's typically a first step of a military operation? Scouting, surveillance, recon. Ah, I love it. By the way, not CD Knudsen. That is a fantastic username. Yes.
Well done,
Yes,
Wyatt.
so-
Style points for Wyatt, who is clearly not CD Knudsen. Let's be
So
super.
an advanced persistent threat.
And Seth, and we do have Franklin who chimed in and said he is a vet. His mic was off.
Okay.
His mic is pretty soft.
I must have missed it. Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
it
I see
went,
it now.
went rolling. And Mason was a what? Oh no, I thought Mason was claiming to be a Boy Scout. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed you, Franklin. Anything you want to add about this to the rest of us who are not cool enough to be veterans? What's your first? Tell us a little bit about why reconnaissance or intel is so important.
Well, every little data set feeds into your approach.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get that data on your target without being caught, then you will always have a leg up when you do go for the full attack.
That's great. I love the way you described that. And you couldn't have described an advanced persistent threat any better. So basically, nowadays, a lot of computer companies, of course, or not even computer companies, just companies in general, will typically put up a lot of computer security systems, different ways of protecting a system. It's usually layered. There's not just one door anymore. There's a whole type of set of architectures we could talk about. There's a lot of different ways that you really want to make a system layered with security. So what does an advanced persistent threat do? An advanced persistent threat starts by just finding the weakest point in the system and compromising it, even if it doesn't get them very much. Let me give you an example. Most companies have a web server. Web servers are right on the front lines, right? They're right there, the thing that is exposed to the network. It's not an internal network, but everybody has to have them. So an advanced persistent threat may find a vulnerability in the web server, and they compromise the web server. Now, if the companies have done their jobs right, there usually isn't too much of importance on the web server. Okay? But an advanced persistent threat doesn't suddenly start causing damage, blowing things up, stealing data, and making itself known. Instead, it sits there, observing. It observes individuals who come to the web server. It observes traffic going inside, even if it can't get further inside yet. A lot of times it will be looking for traffic where it will see if it can detect additional vulnerabilities. One of the comments here was about waiting for vulnerabilities. I was trying to see who made that comment. It was the Shark State. Shark circling, waiting for a security flaw. Yeah, so they get a little ways into the system, and even if they can't get further in, they start their reconnaissance. What kind of systems are running? What kind of traffic is going over? What are the versions of everything, which you can often detect, and there's a fingerprinting type approach. And then you might wait months, and then a security flaw becomes known, or you discover something being done incorrectly on the system that allows you to move another step into the network. Something else that this can allow you to do is it can allow you to do very targeted, yes, Cuckoo's Egg is a great book. Did you guys read that for this class?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Cuckoo's Egg. Wow, you guys already know more than I should have started at a different level. Cuckoo's Egg is great. By the way, if anybody wants to read what I kind of consider to be a follow-up book, only it's not, just to me, it's a follow-up book, is Countdown to Zero Day. That's about U.S. and Israel hacking Iranian centrifuges with zero-day vulnerabilities. It's really, really, really great book. Highly, highly recommend it. So you have these advanced persistent threats, and they're very, very careful. They're very patient. They're looking for a custom way in. They may do a social engineering attack, phishing attack, until they get into the system and they get what they want. Here's my question to you. If you had to describe the attacker who was making that kind of attack, I don't know, how would you describe that a process? I'm being very generic here. You maybe aren't understanding what I'm driving at, but think of somebody or a group who's doing one of these advanced persistent threats. How would you describe their approach to technology? Okay, I see methodical and calculated. That's true. What else? Predatory? Patient? Hey, Trevor, let's talk about predatory for a minute. Who has the bigger brains in the animal world? The predators or the prey animals? The predators do. Why? They have to plan, they have to organize, they have to know how to exploit. They have to strategize. They have to strategize. If you study predators, you will see that predators are strategists. It's just not true that, well, I run faster, so I outrun my prey. Almost never works that way, right? So predators almost always have the bigger brains. Okay, let's go back to talking about computer security. Advanced persistent threats. Trevor very correctly described them as predatory. To be honest, I want you to understand some of these people, this is how they eat. This is literally how they make their money. They live in countries where there aren't a lot of great opportunities. So actually this comment, my prey is the sandwich, am I going to get stupider? There is actually a risk to life too sedately led. And I'm actually trying to get at that just a little bit in the computer security context. If any of you have worked for a company that has a computer security department, how would you describe their process? 9 to 5, good. Trevor, you say they're predatory. That's actually really impressive. I've very rarely met a predatory security department. If there is, that's actually great. Exhausting, they're 24/7. I don't really know what they do until they tell me something is bad. That's true. Broad sweeping rules, make exceptions later, the Shark State says. I've never worked near them. My experience is this. My experience is that security people want to check boxes. Yeah, they're in a constant reactive state. A lot of times they're acting like the prey animal, sitting around, grazing, waiting to be attacked, and just trying to run when something happens. Yes, that's right, just waiting for something to happen. Even if they're trying to be forward-thinking, we just don't have a lot of good theory for it. We just don't have a really good advanced persistent defense theory. I actually challenge my students with this. Students, if you could come up with advanced persistent defense, what would that look like? I don't know that I have an answer yet. I keep challenging my students to think about it. Because right now, the people really doing the great thinking are the hackers. Right now, the people who know how to think, know how to get around, know how to bypass, know how to think on their feet are always the predators. A lot of computer security departments are, did we get the correctly certified firewall? Are we using a sufficiently high encryption amount? It seems a little crazy.
And Seth, don't you think? I mean, this is related to the idea, right? That in a lot of security, we're always fighting the last war, right? We're gonna spend a decade taking our shoes off at the airport in the line because of the shoe bomber. I mean, you're always doing the reactive thing to the last thing while they're planning the next thing, and you're still fighting the last war.
Yeah, that's part of it. Part of it is you're always fighting the last war. Part of it is an economics issue. It's really hard to go tell your boss that you want to spend money to not produce profit, right? We don't know what the threat is. We don't know what it will be. We don't know how it will work. We don't know anything about it, but we ought to spend money trying to go after it. It's very, very difficult on the economics. There's also just a certain matter of, have you ever been in a situation? Okay, Franklin, you get the best points there for referring to the orders of ignorance. I was Chuck's student too, and he taught them to me, and they still rule my life. So I think it's great. Oh, okay. Well, your dad's obviously a very wise guy. Yeah, I see a lot of comments, and we're running just a little short on time, so I'm trying to bring some of this to a useful point. Some of the problem is this. Has anybody ever been in a really, really, really terrible situation, a disaster, a medical emergency or something, where people didn't know what to do? What did people do when they didn't know what to do? I'm sorry to hear that you got your leg smashed between two cars.
Wait, Wyatt, were you driving one of those?
No, surprisingly, actually. I can tell the story really quick because it does relate to this.
No, don't tell the story. We have no time for this.
Okay. I'm going to tell
Air
the story.
wreck,
Wait.
they often stand in shock. That's one thing that happens.
So I got my leg smashed, and literally these two guys that I was helping out were just standing there. Nothing. The driver of the car that smashed my leg was panicking. The other one was just sitting there kind of just looking at me. And I seem to be the only one with my head screwed on right. And so I was telling them what to do while my leg is like in searing pain.
Wow. That's fantastic.
I apologize, Wyatt. That was a relevant story from you for once, so I really, really apologize.
I was going to go back on mute. I see how it is.
So, wow. Love XKCD. One of the things that you will often see is that when people don't know what to do, they do something. And then they feel better for having done something. There's an awful lot of security where we just have no idea what to do. How do we know what to do? It's some random person who's going to come up with a custom attack or a custom this or custom that. So what do we do instead when we don't know what to do? Well, let's increase our key size. Let's put in another firewall. Let's do whatever else. And unfortunately, that happens in a lot of companies. So part of what has to happen, is people have to understand how to think with computer security. And as you might imagine, thinking is actually really hard, and it is the getting an organization to think can sometimes be a real challenge. On the other hand, the attackers, this is how they make their money. We're a little short on time. Otherwise, I would tell you about the time I had a long exchange with a identity thief. But I think what I'd like to do just for the last couple of minutes.
What a tease! What a tease!
you want me to do it? I
don't know. I mean, you're right. We don't have time, but that's a great teaser, man.
Yeah, well, I'm here all week.
Twice a night on Saturday and Sunday.
Let me kind of leave a thought with all of you. Have we ever ended at 6:45? That sounds like my classes.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts just a little.
The kind of closing comment I want to leave you with is this. Let me give you an analogy. Let me give you an analogy that really describes some of the issues with computer security. How many of you have walked into the first floor, not basement, but first floor stairwell of a building on campus? Notice anything special up against the wall on the first floor stairway? In one of those stairway, a gate. Thank you. So a gate, is the gate open or closed? Usually. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? If you don't, the next time you walk into one of these stairwells on the first floor, look up against the side of the wall and there will almost certainly be a gate up against the wall. Why is it there? When will it close? Yes. Jacob, do you want to explain?
Here, I'll come on voice. Yeah, it's a lockout mechanism. It locks people out of the basement so that they don't run down multiple flights of stairs and then just keep running.
And why would they do that?
Panic and or lack of vision.
Yeah, because what happens when you go into a crisis situation? If you don't know what to do in a crisis situation, all of your conscientious thinking shuts down and you go into a fight or flight, completely reactive mode. And once you start running down the stairs, you will keep running down the stairs until you can't. So these gates, it's not like they lock. It's not like you can't open them if you needed to. All they do is that you would have tumbled down to the basement and broken your leg. All they need to do is herd panicking people out. Why is computer security like this? We design our computer security as if everybody is going to be thinking rationally when things are going on. Hackers know how to get people to stop thinking rationally. And it doesn't take much. You just push people to the edge of what they know how to do. Once somebody reaches the edge of their training, they'll switch over into emotion. And the attackers, they know how to move an emotional person wherever they need them to move. Whereas the security is often still assuming that everybody is thinking rationally. We are a step behind in thinking. Thank you. Great picture. We are a step behind in thinking through security. We have to figure out these gates. We have to figure out the thing that flips in to keep people reacting emotionally from doing the wrong thing. And we just don't have that yet. It's just not there. And it's a real challenge. It's a real problem. So anyway, we're out of official time. I encourage everybody. I know this is a kind of an ethics type class, computers in society, I think. Computer security is really important, and even if you're not going to be an expert in it, keep up on the books. Read Cuckoo's Egg, read Countdown to Zero Day. Follow some of the blogs that are really good ones. There's some great ones that are really easy to follow. And just kind of keep a finger on the pulse, because it's something that we don't have solved, and we just don't have it all figured out yet. And in order to be successful, there's a little bit where everybody who's technical could pitch in a little bit. So anyway, I appreciate everybody listening and participating, and thanks, Chuck, for letting me ramble.
Yeah, man.
45 minutes.
No, I really appreciate it. So anybody have any, we are officially over time, so, anybody can bail if you need to at this moment. But are there anything else, just like questions you've got for Seth? We can kind of do a little OT Q&A. So Trevor says, tell the story. I want to hear the story.
Okay, let me tell you what happened. So, I got an email that appeared to be from somebody at Johns Hopkins. I used to do my adjuncting at Johns Hopkins when I lived in Baltimore, and another professor that I barely knew. She was also an adjunct. I got an email that claimed to be from her. That was like, "Hey, are you busy?" And I already kind of suspected that it wasn't her, but I was like, depends. What do you need? And, anybody know how these emails end? What's the next email you get? Yeah, it was.
I'm trapped in London.
Stuck in a meeting. Can you grab me a couple of Apple iTunes cards that I need, and then I'll reimburse you? And I was like, well, this is fun, but I kind of want to talk to this person. I'm kind of interested. So I sent an email back and said, hey, I know you're totally a scammer and an identity theft person, but I'm really interested in interviewing you. So I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a couple of Amazon gift cards if, you let me interview you. It was really, really, really fascinating, because what was super cool about this guy, he never stopped trying to scam me. Even after I was, it was great. Like, okay, I want you to answer some questions for me, and then I will get you a gift card. Well, I want you to get me the gift card, and he wasn't even that direct though. It was always like, it was more like, let's see. He would say things like, I'm running out of minutes on my network time. I need some iTunes gift card funds to have more minutes, right? And I had to be really, really firm. I had to be like, no, I have a list of questions. You're going to answer some questions, and then I will give you a gift card. And we ended up only getting through a couple, and I got him one gift card. He answered a certain series of questions, but I had to basically finally, I did. I wrote up some gift cards. I wrote up some questions. But yeah, so basically I was like, I want you to tell me how you do this and how you do that. And I asked some ethical questions too. How do you feel about such and such ethically, and how do you decide on a target, and some of these other things. And he was super evasive in how do you sleep at night. He was super evasive. He was definitely foreign, and his English wasn't perfect.
So, hey,
And
Seth.
what was funny, I
Seth,
actually wanted to try and spy on him. So I
Hey,
sent
Seth.
him an email with a tracking pixel. You know how those work, right? Where it's an image, but like it's just collecting data. A very simple tracking pixel. But unfortunately, he's using a VPN, right? So I couldn't track him very far that way. But anyway, I had to actually disengage because even once I was offering to just pay him for some straight up just answers, he couldn't turn it off. He couldn't turn off the scam. He could not turn off the whatever. So yeah. So, but it was interesting. I still have it, of course, all in my Gmail, saved whatever else. So I'll send it to Dr. Knudsen, and he can maybe share it with the class. Yeah, it was all email.
Nice. That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
Yes. That James Beach is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Well, sometimes scammers are employees at a call center, but a lot of them are just random people who go out and learn the trade and just get to work.
Wow.
You know.
Any other kind of last questions? And we'll let Seth go. I don't know where you are, Seth. I know you're in a hotel
Just
room.
Dallas.
What's that?
Just Dallas.
Yeah. Should we just go with Eric's, the former CD Knudsen, who is now reverted
Eric's
to
question is a really good one. Yeah, that is probably the vast majority of everything. Passwords are still terrible, and they show up in places you sometimes wouldn't think about. When you're configuring a system as the system IT person, sometimes there's an AES key. If you're familiar with AES, it's 128-bit to 512-bit key, and you typically don't just plug in random bits. You typically have a password that is derived to get the key. And for some reason, some people seem to think that it's stronger because it's a derived key, even though you still just get it from a password. And so if attackers have broken into your system and are trying to break these connections, it's still just a password. And they can try brute forcing or weak password, whatever. Yes, humans are the weakest link. What subfields are my favorite? I've really gotten into cryptography. I actually wrote my first book. It's just basically a programming book. It's a Python and cryptography. So I really like crypto. I think about quantum crypto. Quantum crypto is interesting. Yes, your system is vulnerable to brute force. You deserve to be hacked. Well, there's a little bit of truth to that. Quantum cryptography is interesting. That's a long. There's a lot that could be said about it. Maybe the short thing is I'm pretty optimistic. I think that we're going to have our quantum resistant algorithms in place by the time quantum computers become a problem. But I guess we'll see. Denver asks, hackers are usually domain experts for the target software system. Unfortunately, not always. This is one of the real sad things about computers is that because so many things can be automatable, you don't have to be the domain expert to be the hacker. People can weaponize a vulnerability, make it available through, Metasploit, and you don't have to know the first thing about it. It's really frustrating, but it's unfortunate. But you don't have to be an expert, no. Script kiddies is a term that's used less often, but it's still. I mean, the concept is definitely still
the concept is there, right? You just
one of the reasons why script kiddies are maybe less visible now is because it's become so corporatized. Ransomware is huge business, and so it's hard if you're just a single individual to make as much impact as the organization. But yeah, I guess my point was you don't have to have the expertise to do damage. Yes, the keychain or toolkit will be produced by the expert. Often, yes, that's very true.
So let's do anyway. Is there any kind of like last second things we really should wrap up? And I mean, and I'm also just fine. You know, if anybody has other questions, want to kind of hang out and chat or whatever. You know, I appreciate your time, Seth.
Do I have any remote openings? I don't know if you mean openings at my company or like, do I have remote? Do I have remote ports sitting out?
Seth, I did tell them about Crimson Vista and about you know, kind of your consulting and you know, the various things that, you know, we do that are similar and the things that you do that are, you know, that are more on the security side.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's what you were referring to, Franklin. Work for hire, I think is that WFH.
Hey, Franklin, send me a resume. Seth at crimsonvista.com. Let me answer Shell's question. What is your advice for those getting into the field? Well, the first thing I would say is understand the orders of ignorance. Going to put in a plug for it. What I mean by that is kind of what I was hitting on tonight is there's an awful lot of not thinking that get into security, and that's part of the problem. So the first thing I really would encourage somebody who wants to get into the field is to be a thinker and to be somebody who is an analyzer and a strategist and a predator in their heart, so to speak. It's an analogy, but you know, I told my kids, I said, please don't tell any girls you date that I told you to be a predator. So just, you know, clarifying. But I think that the first thing that is important is that kind of thinking, but maybe that's true for any field. Within the cybersecurity itself, there are a couple of approaches. The first one is you might actually consider an advanced degree. You might even consider a PhD. There's a lot of research work in computer security. That is one approach. At the opposite end of the spectrum, you can become totally qualified with certification. I don't care much for certifications. I don't think they're very useful, but the fact of the matter is, as far as professional goes, they can get you a foot in the door. So you know, like a CISSP is kind of the standard security cert. Now it requires 2 years of experience, so you're like, well, that's chicken and egg. But there are some really great ways to be involved that can get you a foot in the door. Here's one. There are a lot of open source security projects. So go get involved in the open source community. And that can be a way to establish some credentials. For any company you go to, even if they don't hire you for security, the security people in the company are probably overworked. So if you're willing to put in some extra hours outside of your normal assignments, and your boss is cool with that, making yourself available for the security team, especially if you're a quick study and can go figure things out on your own and can go look into something for them and come back and report. Security people will take you. My experience has been that a lot of times they're feeling isolated anyway. So if you come talking to them, they will typically be willing to provide you with some mentoring and some projects. That's been my experience anyway. The other thing that you can do is even just taking a single class and then applying for jobs. There are security-specific jobs. Google has a security team. And it's not just ops, it's also the research and the how do we design our systems to be better. So if you're familiar with some of their open source projects and you have read some of their research papers and you're familiar with some of the things they're working on, then you show up for an interview, and even if you don't have as much background as you like, you show them that you're a person that is familiar with it and investigating it, and more knowledgeable than interesting than and more interested than the average candidate. And let me just give you one concrete example of that. If I wanted to impress somebody in a security interview right now, I would go look up the concept of zero trust security. Zero trust networking is actually probably the better term. Zero trust networking. Google kind of pioneered this, but it's branched out into its own thing that is kind of, I think, going to be the standard approach to security architectures, maybe within 10 years or less. If you dive into it and can kind of wrap your head around it and understand why the changes are happening and the trade-offs and some of those kind of things, if I was at an interview and I had a student who could really talk to me and cut through some of there's marketing speak, of course, right? But it's somebody who could really get to some of the core issues and why it's so important. I think that's a solid one. Yeah, quick explanation. Right now, most security has been designed around edge networking, meaning the firewall at the edge of the LAN. Zero trust networks don't assume a LAN. You treat the LAN as just as unprotected as you treat everything else. Everything is encrypted. That is a great meme right there. Everything is encrypted even on the LAN. You don't trust anybody under any circumstances unless they're authenticated, and you actually want to have some insight into the state of their computer, right? Like tracking things like, has it been patched with updated patches, so that it's trust in a device at a specific point in time. But it basically does away with the concept that you treat your inside safer than your outside. Google started doing it after the Snowden revelations revealed that NSA was spying on stuff on the LAN. They're like, okay, well, we're just not going to trust our LANs anymore. Anyway, Shells, I hope that was helpful. If you have other questions, you can always send me an email afterwards. I'm always happy to give suggestions.
So I'm going to do this is just fantastic. Obviously, there's, a lot of interest, a lot of questions. If I've got to cut out of here pretty quick, but I have no problem just kind of leaving the audio chat, kind of going. If there's just other follow-ups, anyone else wants to send you a resume, I highly recommend that to anybody. If, Seth's just a great guy to work with. And, and most of the class is still here. But I want to do kind of like the pseudo-official, I don't know. I mean, I'm more than happy personally with the overtime until I've got an appointment that's supposed to kick in personally. But I just don't want to, you know what I mean? I want to be respectful to the cutoff. Because I know for some students it's still like, well, I don't know, you know what I mean? Till it's like it's officially still going. So do I hang on or do I cut it off? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe being hypersensitive. I don't know. But anyway, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to stop the YouTube stream, and then, and Seth, and I'll cut off the Zoom video thing because I won't be here to manage it directly. But, more than happy to, you guys can hang out if you have questions still on the chat, on the text chat and on the audio. But anyway, Seth, they a lot of clamoring, I think, for you to be their teacher here instead of me, which
No,
I
I'm
would
sure
really,
that's not true.
I would really, no, I would dig that, man. I would truly dig that. But you know, as people
I
can
give
probably,
really hard lab work.
oh, that's true, that's true. No, as it's probably not a shocker to anybody, you know, among the students that when Seth and I get together, you know, we can go late into the night, you know, talking about the philosophical, ethical issues in the field and everything else. It's always a good time. So anyway, Seth, thanks for doing this. It's been just fantastic.
And I enjoyed meeting all of the students virtually, so this was a lot of fun.
And you
Thanks
can tell
for letting
it's
me be a part of your class.
As you can tell, it's a great group. A lot of energy. Some more than others. Try to slap them around just a little bit, calm them down. But it's really, really a killer group. I really love these guys. It's great. So okay, yeah, you can hang out, do what you want with the moment here. If there's anybody still hanging there.